Hi, I'm Greg from RVHaulers. I've got behind me a Volvo Model 780. And this Volvo, we've named it Vic. Vic has been designed to carry, as you can see, a smart car on the bed behind its sleeper. And it's been engineered to pull the largest of fifth wheel trailers, RVs, behind it. The purpose of this video is I want to be able to show people some of the measurements of these tractors, these Volvos. I want to show from the front of the sleeper to the back of the sleeper. I want to show what those vertical fairings, what they measure. And of particular interest in the last while, people have been interested in how long a trailer can I pull? How long are these rigs overall? And I'm going to be showing you a few different measurements. Now I've got a 780 right here, the gold colored one. I also have in front of him a white 670. It's a little bit shorter. And what I'm going to do is show you in a standard build what are the bed measurements and the overall measurements to the pin. I'm also going to compare that with a Volvo 670. Then we're going to bring in a Volvo 730 that we've designed to be really nip and tuck. I want to show you just how short we can make it if we push our envelopes. So first, let me show you some measurements on Vic. Now what I've done, I've got a handheld camera here so you can see at the same time what we're doing. I have lined up, I forgot to tell you, there's Prince in the background. He's a Volvo Model 880, very rare, but I do have him parked and ready to, all shined up, ready to go to a customer. But what we've done is both of these trucks, we have lined up the front of this truck and I've put a 2x4 on the ground marking the front of the bumper. Now, there are US precedents, there's some law that says safety equipment doesn't count in calculating overall length, but we're gonna include it too. We're gonna do two different measurements. But right now what I want to show you is that the front edge of this 2x4 is right in line with the front edge of the truck. So I'm going to be doing my measurements from the front side of this 2x4. I've got some pegs in there to make sure that it doesn't move. And what I've done is I've taken a big long square and I've made sure, here if you look down at this angle, you can see that, you know, the board isn't wowed too much. It's pretty straight, but we're going to measure from the front edge vertically, and we're going to do some measurements that way out the back to see how long different parts of this Volvo are. Now, something else that I've done is I've put a little chalk mark on the bed here. Now, when a trailer comes in, the pin goes right into this opening here. And what I've done is what I want to show is this is the important measurement. We want to measure to the center of the pin, and I've taken this square and I've put it on a straight edge just to show you my references here. I put it on a straight edge, and if you look, whoops, put that straight. If you look straight down this edge, you'll see that it goes right to the middle of that pin. And the middle of that pin is the middle of, or middle of that shaft, I should say, is the middle of where the pin comes in here. What I've done next is I've transferred that measurement down the side. Now I know my ground isn't perfectly level, but just using the square, I've put a tape reference down here. So that is effectively, if you look, it's the center of the pin. Let's get that out of the way. Let's grab our tape measure. So there's a few measurements we'll do. Let's hook. Oh, that's a little hard with one hand. There we go. So we got it hooked at the front. And if we stretch out my tape. Now I know this is at an angle, but I wanted to show you that effectively the back of the cab is that vertical crack right there. That's the back of the cab, and that's 16 feet. The measurement to the back of The fairing is another 16 feet and 17 feet, effectively 17 feet 6. So it's 16 inches there. 12, 16 plus another 16 is 17 feet 6. Now let's go right to this line. So with the Volvo Model 780, our pin, so I'll get that nice and straight to minimize the error, we are 28 feet, I'm going to say if I stretch it really tight, just over 7 inches, 7 1/4. So 28 feet, 7 inches, and then you add on the length of your trailer to that to get your overall length. Now, let me do the same on this 670. I'm going to move my camera. So one of the options you have if you're concerned with your overall rig length is to look at this model of Volvo, which is a 670. It's a shorter sleeper. It's still a tall sleeper. There's also a model 630, which is shorter in height, but the same length. Let me show you what I've done here. I realize there's no bumper on this guy right now. We're doing some work on him at the moment, but when the front bumper is installed, it comes out right flush with this front edge of the hood. And if you look straight down, the front edge of this 4x4 that I've put on the ground, I've pegged it in place as well so it can't move, that is where we're going to measure from. We'll hook that on there. Now, I've put, just so I'm not measuring at an angle like this, to get an accurate measurement, I've taken my drywall square, and hey, I may be off by an inch or a 1/4 inch or so, but what I've done, I put it on the ground, have it go straight up. There is, oh, let me fix that. There is the back of the cab to the front edge of my square. So front of bumper to back of cab is 14 feet. Let's call it 14 feet 5 inches, just to be a little bit longer, to be cautious. Then what I'll do too, I'm going to put it right on the back edge fairing. So this time we're measuring to the back edge of the square, and that is 15 feet, let's call it 10 inches. Now, we've looked at a 780, which is one of the more popular rigs. Because of the larger sleeper, people are attracted to it. If you're concerned with length, we have the option of going to a 670, shorter sleeper, and allows us to carry or pull a longer trailer out the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in here a model 730. Now this is the RVHauler named Logan. The owners of this one wanted to scrunch things as much as possible. They wanted to try to get this, they still wanted the 730, but they wanted to bring that hitch head and everything compacted up as much as possible. I'll back him in next. Actually, what I'll do, before we do that, let me show you on Vic where we've made some length savings. I'll move the camera again. Now what we have in my standard bed build, which is this, is I've got some, let's call it some wiggle room. I've put in a little bit of extra space between the back of this fairing, or the drawn box that we tend to put in here, and the mirror of the smart car, just in case you forget to fold your mirror in, there's no risk. The other thing that I've done is I've designed the bed to accommodate two widths of smart cars. This is a really old model. This is one of the original models. It's a 450. The newer ones that came out in 2016 are about 5 inches wider. So I've added the ability, take a look here on the bed, I've got 2 chock positions. I can put a chock here, which lines up with the narrower car, or I can put a chock outside, which allows us to have the wider car sitting out here and still attach it. I've left, again, more than enough room to allow the trailer to come in here in a sharp, sharp turn to even jackknife the trailer, and the trailer will have, even if it's 2016, it will have enough room in here, even with the mirror folded out. So what we've done is we've done some things with the hitch, we've done some things on the bed, just to scooch things up, and with the awareness that we have some of that margin of safety removed on this design. Let me back in Logan and show you how this one works. I backed it in once before and I've got, perfect. Okay, I have some marks on the ground here. What I'm going to do is bring in, I've got some paint marks on the ground, got some 2x4s I'm going to bring in. So I set things up just like I did with Vic. I've extended out the 2x4 to here. So I've got something to attach to. Now, if we look right down here, you can see the front of Logan is exactly lined up with the front of Vic. I've got right there, all the trucks lined up perfectly. The hood mirrors do likewise. And what I've done is this inside 2x4 is to the front grille. So Logan has a moose bumper on him. That certainly brings things out a few inches. If you didn't have a moose bumper on here, that is where I would be measuring from. Of course, he does have a moose bumper on here, so I'm going to do some measurements including the moose bumper as well. So let me show you some marks that I've made on Logan. So if we look back here, you'll see that I've got my fairings matched up. Logan is just a little bit turned, but the front is lined up. You'll see from here, if you compare it to the opening on Vic back there, we've done some things with the hitch to bring it all forward in this space. And also, if you compare, there we go, you can see how we've shortened the overall rig length as well. Now come back and take a look at what we've saved. I've measured, here, I'll use my square to show you. I've measured, here, I've measured square on there, down, there we go, on the tape. I've likewise made sure that this is vertical there. So that is, when I've shaved on the bed, I've done what I can up there, taken this hitch, moved it forward, even moved that opening forward, you can see there's Vic's hitch popping up there. There's Prince's in the back. He's the same length. But here's what I've been able to save in length. Let's do this again with a tape. Okay, so this is from this has got what I would call the shorter of the two measurements. And I'll measure, like I did with Vic, I'll measure to here, and we are 27 feet, what is that, about 3 1/8 inches long. So we've saved quite a few inches in this one. Now let's put the tape measure on. So now I'm measuring from the far bumper, which includes the moose bumper. Now, we've got some precedents established in the United States that say that safety equipment is not included in length calculations or width calculations. So if you have safety equipment, means bumpers, like moose bumpers, lights sticking out the sides, or if you've got some chocks or things like that mounted on the side of a bed, those things don't count. But even if we do count them, just to be on the safe side, we measure from that far board, we are 27 feet 11 inches. So I hope that explains how we can save some lengths. It also shows we can use a model 670 or 630 to shorten the rig length as well. If you have any further questions, please send us an email, give me a call, and hopefully I'll be able to help you. I'm Greg from RVHaulers. Thanks for watching.